all of my religious folks. I know this may sound like the most ignorant thing you've ever heard, but Jesus never existed as a flesh and blood human being. But I promise you, I have no agenda to lie to you. I don't even get paid for the information I give you all. But I'm going to give you the proof that Jesus never lived. And I'm going to use the Old Testament itself to do it. No opinions, just facts from the text. And notice how Jesus is always being prophesied out of Isaiah 53, in which Isaiah 53 is not about Jesus, but about the oppression of the Jewish people and how they would rise up like a shoot out of dry ground and become great and rule over the other nations. But that allegory of Isaiah 53 is basically an embodiment of the same story. This time, they just created a character and a fancy story to drive the point. Now, I need you to follow me on this, people. We know that Jesus being crucified by Romans can't save your soul because human sacrifice isn't Jewish. He can't be the Messiah of the Tanakh because God used Cyrus the Great to liberate the lost sheep and decree that a temple be built. That's attested for in Isaiah 44 verse 28 all the way to Isaiah 45 verse 10. So now that we see who the Messiah was in the Old Testament, let me show you where they crafted the kingship of Jesus from. In the book of Zechariah chapter 3, it goes immediately into the vision. And he showed me Yeshua the high priest. Joshua and Yeshua is the same name, just spelled differently in the New and Old Testament to show discernment to Jesus from the other Joshuas. And the Lord said to Satan, I will rebuke you. Remember in my other video where I told you all, rebuke in Hebrew is a debate. It is not a banishment as used in the Greek context of the New Testament. And this is why the Lord asked Satan, is this one not a brand plucked from fire? Same thing he did with Job. So he tells Joshua to remove the filthy rags and put on the crown, and he will be his shoe. If you turn to chapter 6, it will start talking about the 4 chariots and the 4 different color horses, which represents the 4 nations of Persia, Babylon, Greece, and Rome. But the New Testament teaches they are the 4 horses of the apocalypse. Chapter then explains how crowns of gold are placed on the head of Joshua, the son of Josedek. Tells how he will rebuild the second temple and bring back the lost tribe. This literally happened in the 4th century BC. So there's no way that someone could take parts of Daniel, Isaiah, and Zechariah, craft this story up and think no one would catch it. But the church knows that Gentiles are people who don't study their faith or will be tedious with these scriptures will fall for that story. But Deuteronomy 13 tells you these things will happen.